my name's Kaylee Elsey, and this is my presentation over text messaging etiquette. The worst way to end a text message conversation is with a single letter K. Some people have no idea what that means or why that's bad, and other people know exactly what I'm talking about. This is why I feel like we need to lay some ground rules and things like that for text message conversations. So the things that I'll be talking about today are when texting is okay, how quickly or slowly you should respond to a text, the length of your text messages and why that's important, and also your use of grammar in your text messages. So first off, you have to figure out if text messaging is the appropriate means of communication for the conversation that you're going to have. So if it's something that needs to be more professional, you might not want to use text messaging. And if it's something a little bit more casual, then text messaging is usually okay. As kind of a general rule. It depends what kind of message it is, who it's going to, and then it also depends on how quickly you want them to receive it and how fast you want them to reply. So if you want a slower response, something more formal, you might send a letter as opposed to a text message. Along with delivery time is response time, and a lot of people are confused about response time, how quickly they should respond. A lot of people don't realize that it's not okay to wait as long as they do to reply. You should always reply in a timely fashion, if you can, as soon as possible. If you don't do that, then people might think that you don't care about the conversation and that you don't care about them and that you're uninterested. Another thing that you can do is reply too soon, and that's not a bad thing, but every once in a while, that'll be something that's not good. Like if you're having kind of a heated conversation, it's not good. You need to think about your responses before you send them. Another thing you want to think about when you're sending out a text message is the length of them. So if it's too short, you might seem uninterested or like you want the conversation to be done, such as my first example of the letter K to end a conversation. The length kind of depends on the content of the message. So it depends on what kind of message you're sending. It also depends who you're sending it to. If you're going to type a big, like, 3-page response, then you could probably just call that person. It might be a little bit easier. As also, another thing that can make it easier for the other person who's receiving it, they might appreciate it if you use correct grammar. A lot of people don't. They like to use acronyms and text lingo. That's not good because it's difficult to read. It doesn't smoothly flow. Also, some people just don't understand certain terms that you might use. Also, people used to do this to save time, and now that's not really necessary because every phone that we have now has a full keyboard. So it's not saving a lot of time because you're not having to press one button several times to get the same result. So people could probably just use regular actual sentences rather than using things like the number 2 for the word to, or the number 4 for the word for, or the letter U for the word you. That's kind of, people will know what you're saying, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't make you look smart or professional. So in conclusion, when texting somebody, you have to think about if texting is okay for the situation and who you're sending it to and the type of message that you're going to send. You also have to think about how quickly you need to respond to these messages or how quickly you want them to respond. You have to consider the length of your messages. Sometimes they can be too long or too short, and you don't want that because that can be bad. And you also would want to use correct grammar as much as possible. Certain things are okay, but for the most part, you should probably use correct grammar because it's easy to understand. It's really important for us to consider the way that we communicate with each other so that we can more smoothly and efficiently do so. And that's it.